This place is just absolutely unreal. You really feel like you're on another planet. We've just arrived at Jocular Salon. Again, it's quite cloudy and overcast here today. Not a lot of dramatic light going on. It's not going to stop me. The scenery is still absolutely amazing. This that I'm shooting with now is the Panasonic LUMIX GH5. It's still on its pre-production firmware. It's on firmware 0.5. At the moment, I am shooting in 4K, 10-bit, 25 frames a second. I am in the Cine-like D mode, but I've knocked down the contrast a little bit on it as well. And I'm shooting with the new 12 to 60 Leica lens. But enough chatting, here we go. By this point, I'd been using the GH5 in Iceland whilst I'm on holiday with my brother for a few days. My initial impressions of the camera were good. The autofocus lives up to expectations, particularly for stills photography. Using the touchscreen to change the AF point is great. And if you aren't a fan of touchscreens, then there's always the new joystick to help you shift the AF point. Throw in a wealth of function buttons and dials, and the GH5 feels like a tiny pro-level DSLR. It's not actually as cold as I thought it was going to be. Hands are a little bit chilly, but I've not had to put the hat on. I've been taking some photos. The water's really still and clear, perfect mirror glass reflection. Absolutely beautiful. And the air is so crisp, it's lovely. A few more bits about how I'm recording this on the GH5. I am in manual exposure mode. I'm currently at ISO 400. Seems to be about right for today. I've got it in continuous focusing and it's on the face eye detection mode. And I've got the image stabilization turned on and it's in the electronic mode as well for video. I've currently got the camera on a travel tripod. Sorry if my eyes keep looking around, I keep checking on the screen. I need some sunglasses like Casey Neistat has. Quite bright out there, so you've got to keep an eye on the histogram and watch you don't clip the highlights. But if you knock the exposure back a little bit, you can get some really nice contrast. I've got the GH5 set up into its vivid mode and it's giving the colours a punch and it's knocking the shadows down just a fraction darker. It's got a really nice level of contrast for this type of scene. All of the images in this video are JPEG images, usually edited. Once the final firmware and software is released, I'll be looking at the raw images in more detail. It's got to be one of the places on earth where you literally could just spend all day taking photos and video. Absolutely love it here. The light's coming out a little bit more now, but I don't think we're gonna break into clear blue skies anytime soon. So we'll probably head off to the next location shortly. Having spent a couple of days in the southeast of Iceland, we were travelling back to Reykjavik. Along the way there were a few planned stops at the usual tourist spots. However, if we saw an interesting detour or two, we were more than happy to take it. Although I'm not sure the suspension of our 4x4 hire car always felt quite the same way. We left Jocular Salon and we were heading back towards Reykjavik and we saw just a little dirt track. There are actually roads out here, but just like gravel pathway tracks. We've come out basically at the bottom of a glacier. It looks like Jocular Salon, except there's no one here. There's one other car in the car park, just there. And that's Rob. Hi Rob. So we're gonna go down a bit closer and take a look. This place looks a lot more untouched compared to Jocular Salon. And I'll find out what it is and I'll put the name just kind of here somewhere. For video, the 5-axis stabilisation is remarkably steady when fixed on a subject. Even when walking, using a tripod as a ballast, it's surprisingly steady. Almost every clip in this video is shot handheld, with the tripod acting as a makeshift stabiliser. starting to rain again. Luckily the GH5 should be weatherproof. Hopefully, when I take it back to the UK and give it back to Panasonic, it will all be working in one piece. We shall see. Walking towards the glacier was an incredible experience. In the UK, you'd have to pay for car parking, an entrance fee, and possibly get wrapped in bubble wrap for health and safety measures. But in Iceland, you're left free to explore, to wander. But you still need to be careful. I was quickly reminded that the black mass I was walking on wasn't actually rock. Yep, styled that one out nicely. At this point we'd been walking in the rain for about 40 minutes and everything was soaking wet, including the GH5. Luckily the camera is weather sealed, but a few drops of water obviously blocked the small holes to the microphone. So here come some more subtitles. The microphone is still working absolutely fine, by the way. So we walked from the car, which is probably maybe the way we've come, about a mile, and we've come to the face of the glacier. Here behind me, can't really get a huge sense of scale, but that's probably about as tall as a house, and it's just a solid wall of ice. And I'm soaking wet. I don't know why I haven't put my hood up. The GH5 is also soaking wet, but it's still working. What are you shooting with, Rob? Canon Demi. I really should have put my hood up. On our way back, we decided to take another detour, but had failed to take a close look at exactly what the sat-nav was telling us. So the bridge isn't there anymore, so it looks like we're going to have to take a car round the other way. No bridge. It was on the next leg of the car journey that I viewed back some of the footage I'd shot and realised that if the weather was going to carry on as it was, I was going to need to use the Rode Video Mic Pro. However, well played GH5 in-camera microphone, because up until the torrential rain you were doing a great job of recording the audio for basic vlogging. Okay, we've stopped and we're going to walk from where we are down to a beach which has an old American DC-3 plane which crashed on the beach. So I opted not to record this next bit of the journey. What you're going to miss is a 4-kilometre walk in the cold, wet and wind across nothing but black gravel. Oh, and remember the Rode mic? Well, I forgot to turn it on, and I'd also left the picture style set to vivid. So what I'm basically saying in this bit of the video is, so we've made it to the beach. I'm cold and wet, having only just got dry, and the place is full of tourists who don't seem to have the patience to wait and let me take a shot. Now I know I can't complain too much, after all I'm a tourist too, but I always try and make sure I'm not in another person's shot, or at least I wait patiently for my turn until they've got their image. Still, it did make for an interesting documentary project, especially this woman who appears to have walked 4 kilometres in the wind and rain with her weekly shop. For the final leg of the drive back to Reykjavik, the weather got a lot worse. It was driving wind and rain and very foggy. Visibility was minimal. Thankfully though, Rob was driving, which left me time to take some nice blurry footage through the rainy window. So the car journey back was a few hours and got back to the hotel. We've checked in and now we're just heading out to find some food, probably a kebab or a pizza. Now this was originally where I intended to finish the video. After all, you don't want to watch me eating a kebab. But on the way back through Reykjavik that night, I decided to take some low light shots with the Voigtlander 25mm f/0.5 lens. Using the maximum aperture, image stabilisation and a sensitivity of ISO 400, I was able to shoot handheld at half a second. And then tomorrow we're doing the Golden Circle tour. So next time I'll be seeing you, it'll be tomorrow morning and we'll probably be back in the car.